Hola, soy Mónica Conesa y estás mirando Eclectic Arts Media.
We'd get our scripts and it would only say our lines in the script. It was very hush hush.
Hi, my name is Calder Schilling and I'm playing Sherlock Holmes.
Hello, I'm Nate Tenenbaum playing Watson.
And you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
I think I forgot your question, but I went on a different path, but it felt great.
Aloha, I'm Jake Shimabukuro, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Opportunity these people had, and then they just ruined it.
Hi guys, I'm Jiaoying Summers, and you are watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Hi, I'm Mara Vincent, co-artistic director of Olympic Ballet Theater and Olympic Ballet School.
Hi, I'm Oleg Garbulov. I'm co-artistic director of Olympic Ballet Theater and Olympic Ballet School.
And you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
That's not true. People tell me no all the time. I just don't believe them.
Hey, I'm Jennifer Page, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Then when I'm doing the preparation for Shoresy, I just try to remind myself, this is fun. Make sure you're having fun. You don't have to destroy people in every scene.
If you got on my YouTube algorithm, man, it's all just life coaches and philosophy, and I mean, not all of it is, some of it's street fights and football, but
I always get off the phone.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for taking the time to join me on this Thursday, the 27th of March, 2025. And I have quite a few guests I'd like to thank that have stopped by recently. I'd like to thank Jupiter Jetson for stopping by on Sunday. It's great catching up with Jupiter. She's been a guest since 2022. I want to say, if memory serves, she's been on 5 times. And it's always great talking with her, and she's got a lot of things coming up. So I have a feeling that we'll be seeing her back in the studio within maybe about 6 months or so, once her projects, which I can't divulge, are a reality. And I want to thank Dres Ryan for doing the offshoot topic on Tuesday. We were talking about professional wrestling, and little did he know I had a surprise guest, which was Halcon Negro. So Halcon, thank you for joining us. And we geeked out about professional wrestling on Tuesday. And then just yesterday, my third recurring series, Selena Ivy came back, and she's actually on the road right now. So it was great that she found time in her schedule to do episode 3. I have 3 recurring series going on right now. So there's Conversations with Kate, which is featuring Kate Black Spence. I have Selena Says, featuring Selena Ivy. And then the newest one is What You Seek Is Seeking You, featuring actor Dres Ryan. So those are the 3 recurring series. And obviously I have other streams that I do, like the one we're doing today. And I want to thank Joshua for making a PayPal donation yesterday. That's greatly appreciated. Joshua, I know you've made 2 donations in the last 8 days. So it's greatly appreciated. Every dollar goes to helping me keep the stream stuff alive, because it costs me money every month. And if you would like to make a PayPal or a Venmo donation, there's links directly in every live stream that I do. So once you're done with this, if you want to do so, that would be great. And that's just only if you have, if you're in the position to do so, obviously. If you want to help me and you're strapped for cash like I am, then you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can also hit the notification bell if you want to know distinctly when something's coming up. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, you can follow me over there. It's hard to believe that I started on Twitch on the Alice Virtual Tour on May 22nd, 2020. So a couple months away from the 5-year anniversary of doing all this virtual work, which at the time seemed like something I would never ever do. And I remember I was extremely nervous about it. And I can look back at those live streams, which are on my YouTube channel. They're all there. I can kind of laugh and cringe and like, oh my gosh, look how terrible that was. But I think they're better now. Hopefully that's why people are joining and subscribing to the YouTube channel. And if you want to know distinctly what I have coming up, because I'm at a lot of in-person events here in Seattle, I'll be at one tonight, one tomorrow, one Saturday, and potentially one on Sunday. Please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first, and then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. All right. My guest today is a beautiful talent with a background in many different fields. She has spent time in the beauty pageant industry, also as a professional NHL cheerleader. She has authored several books and holds 2 degrees. She is currently catching the eye of many fans in the adult entertainment industry. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, Miss Jade Green.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Hi, Jade. How are you?
I am so great. I actually just got back from my fifth, I mean, technically sixth, but I didn't really count like my holiday tour just because like I was going to visit loved ones at the same time when I was like out working for Christmas. So it just happened to line up that I had shoots around Christmas and New Year's, which was nuts. So yeah, I've been touring around, working in the adult industry. Prior to this, as you mentioned, beauty pageants and pageants paid for my college tuition. And yeah, ended up going to cheerlead for the Washington Capitals and getting my master's. My 20s was a very busy time, so I plan on really enjoying my 30s.
Okay, yeah, no. When I found out about your background, I was like, wow, there's a lot to discuss here, and I'm still looking forward to it. And again, thank you for taking the time. I think one thing that is interesting to me, like you said, you just kind of got back from another tour of doing work and just building your brand basically. I'm trying to figure out where exactly I want to jump into this, but my own background, there was a period of time where I worked with models for about 10 years doing photography. So when you went the beauty pageant part of it, I definitely had some folks that were in that world. So maybe we'll start there. What got you involved in it? Is that something that your parents put you into, or something you wanted to do, or both?
So it's really funny. Like, I wanted to do it on my own accord. I was bullied a lot in high school. Grew up in a small town where it just was like white predominantly. And even though I don't look Latino, like because I am Latino and like first generation American on one of my parents' side, like I actually got teased a lot for that and treated like total garbage. Until I went to college. Like I had a really stable and solid group in college and there on out. Like I've had such a lovely experience in adulthood with friendship that like it totally made up for it. But that's what really drove me. I wanted to increase my confidence because I started young. And it wasn't until later actually that pageants did give me like scholarships because I started young. I started at 16 on my own accord. Everybody in my life rolled their eyes at me. They really did. I had a couple supporters within my family, so I was lucky there. But I was probably, when I started pageants, it was probably like 20 to 30 pounds heavier. I was an awkward teenager, like many of us, I feel like a vast majority of us are. I was a very awkward teenager that like wasn't really happy with the way I looked, was getting bullied by peers. So I thought, what a healthy, positive way to channel like that negative energy into something that would give me some external validation, and a teenager wants that. Like, so that was a big motivation. Like I wanted to just feel like I could accomplish something and just change my life and do whatever I wanted. And it really did kind of set off. I'm glad I did do pageants because out of all of my things, cheerleading, volunteering, whatever work, it really did change my life because it taught me time management and it taught me how to prioritize my goals, because obviously we don't have all the time in the world to accomplish everything. We have to pick and choose. That's just the reality of life. And it was so hard the initial years because like I came close many times to the titles before I won them. And a lot of people don't realize that either. When I was 16, the first pageant I ever competed in, Miss Pennsylvania junior teen, I was on the higher age range of that because they're teen and junior teen crossed over at 16. So I entered junior teen because I was nervous and I was like, I don't want to compete with the teens yet because I've never competed. Got first runner up with absolutely no training, no practice out of 135 girls in my division. And so even though I didn't win, it did make me feel like it probably was like the first moment in my life that I felt proud of something that I did, I chose to do. And I was like, look at this, but it was unfortunate because the early years, nobody saw my vision. And it was funny because I was like, I know this is going to lead me somewhere. And that's when I figured out the Miss America system. That's when I figured out Miss International, how some of the older pageants, once I was in the adult age ranges, I was getting scholarships. So, not only was it a pride thing, it also was paying for college. It was worth something financially in the long run for me. At first, though, it's hard to convince people, I think at any age, when you're just starting something that like you're gonna ride it out. And that was like the best part about pageants for me. It was very vindicating when I won, because that's when people really started like supporting me in it. And that's with anything. I feel like most people do. But yeah, nobody thought I could like win, and I won I won a bunch. I won like 4 local titles, 2 state titles. One of those was a Big 5 for Miss International, and then 1 national title for National American Miss, National Actress, which is like a preliminary. Like they have their preliminaries and then their like main competition. So I had a pretty, I'm not saying I was like the most talented or most crowned pageant girl, but I did pretty well for the little amount of time and little support that I had while doing it.
Yeah, no, it sure sounds like it. I mean, there's a couple of different things I'd love to unpack there. One, I'm sorry that you were bullied at a young age. It's something I can personally relate to myself, because I went through that myself. And there's no way to kind of talk to anybody who wasn't bullied about what that does to your self-esteem at that time. And so it's interesting that when you went into the beauty pageant world, that, like you said, you just didn't have much support outside of a few family members that supported you. And I'm sure you probably found out a lot about yourself during that time, because especially once you start placing and winning and getting bigger and bigger, kind of like, this is what I wish I had way back when I was younger.
Well, imagine my surprise being told, like, not only, was I made fun of for racial reasons, but like, it was also look reasons. Like, because I was like heavier at the beginning of like pageants, like when I was younger, I was treated like absolute garbage. And even though like 20, 30 pounds is not that, like, I was not morbidly obese, like people were just cruel to me. And so imagine my surprise as a young teenage girl to be told by like officials and like these people with clout that like, you're beautiful. I was like, really? Like, I didn't believe, like when I placed, I mean, my first pageant, I didn't only get first runner up. I remember that very clearly. I also won Miss Congeniality. I won Miss Congeniality for my age range, because there was a couple Miss Congeniality awards. So like, I won Miss Popularity, like a little bullied teen from the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, won Miss Popularity, and then I won Most Promising Model. And that was just like such, like, I was on such a high. I remember that moment, because my mom was there, and like she was really proud. Like my family, after at least my first pageant, they were like, okay, we see why you like this. But I lost probably like, because I competed a lot. I really wanted the state title, and I lost probably like 4 or 5 times before I finally got. I think most girls that go into it, they want that state crown, because that's like the lowest level that's like impressive to most people. So like, a lot of the girls, most of them are gunning for state, and they're fine with that. Like there's a ton of girls in the system that like, they're not ultra competitive at nationals. Now me, I wanted to go all the way, but we don't choose that. So, but some of the girls, they were like really satisfied just like being Miss New York. Like that was their like greatest accomplishment. They were super happy with it. So there was a variety of different types of personalities, and it was nice. It exposed me to a new group of people, like to new types of people. And it like made me believe in myself. I'm like, wow, like, okay, like people think I'm beautiful. Like maybe these people don't think I'm beautiful. Maybe these people don't see my worth, but like these people see my worth. So I don't really need to listen. I don't really need to listen to my peers. My peers suck. I'm going to go hang out with pageant people for a bit.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, that when you start getting that confidence and your self-esteem and everything else starts to grow, and you find other people, they're like, oh, I really like hanging out with you because you're like me, or you understand the world that we're in. And these people over here don't understand. It's like, well, see you later.
Yeah. And it's not to say pageants weren't perfect. My biggest criticism of pageantry that I'm very vocal about publicly, and it's not all pageants, but very specifically like the big 5 pageants, I do not like how the contestants are judged off of criteria that's not in the competition. International wasn't that bad with that. That was my favorite system. I really enjoyed being a queen for them. But like Miss America, I'll just go ahead and say it. Miss America 10 years ago, the level of control they had on contestants, it was stupid, because they had this level of control for local contestants. We're not talking just Miss America. We're talking girls that are like Miss Fort Lauderdale or Miss Miami. Like, and I'm sorry, but that's stupid. Like, it's a city queen. She's not getting paid enough. She's not getting scholarships enough for you to act like everything she does needs to be judged. That's absurd. And to tell 21-year-olds that they can't go out to the bar with girlfriends responsibly, get a taxi, do perfectly legal things, and have a good time is against your. I just think that the old archaic conservatism of pageants is why we see them with such low numbers now, and why we see they're struggling to stay relevant, because that's not how young women are. It's not the 50s and 60s anymore. Young women can work. They can go get their education. They can have fun with friends on the town, and it's okay. Like, they're not going out does not necessarily mean you're doing nefarious, evil activities, and that always cracked me up. Like, or having a boyfriend. Ooh. Like, oh my God.
I know from some of the, and I'm thinking of one gal that I worked with here locally that was involved with local and some state competitions here in Washington. And so I would hear some of the stuff from her. And one thing, and maybe you can also shed some light on this, was that the pageant world, really on any level, it's expensive. It's an expensive activity to be a part of.
It is not cheap. And so sadly, it's what pisses me off too about pageantry, but like, I understand it's kind of like baseball. If we look at it like Major League Baseball, where it's like people hear and it's purported, oh, anybody can get in, anybody can do it. But the truth and reality is just kind of like with professional sports is it's like, obviously it's easier for equally talented, you compare two equally talented athletic children. Well, one who does not have the money and means to train up to a professional level is not going to be able to train. And it's the same with pageants. A girl who can't afford, we had to have a talent, but they judged us, like Miss America, they judge at a very high level for talent. They expect world-class talent to be shown, because Miss America used to be televised. I mean, it's not anymore, but it was, as you remember probably, USA, America, and I think there was one, Teen USA, were all televised for decades in this country. And so it was a big deal to make sure girls would show up. Broadway level singers, orchestra level instrumentalists, which is, again, I get it, but it's also sad because nobody tells the girls competing that like it's easier for the girls with money. It's easier because they can hire all the coaches. Nobody tells them how much it's going to cost. They say, oh, anybody can win. Anybody can win. It's like, anybody can win with the right amount of money, because even when I did try to cheat, like my last year, just for shits and giggles, when I was Miss Virginia International, I was like, I'm aging out. It was my last year. I was like, this is my last time. I was 26. I was getting ready to do my master's. I didn't want to do any more pageants. And I was getting ready to cheerlead. I was like, I want to cheerlead, so I don't want to do pageants anymore. I want to let this, after 10 years of doing it, I was ready to hang out my crown. And even I did it on the cheap. Like I ended up borrowing wardrobe. I ended up reusing. And I think in Orlando with sponsors, keep in mind, like we had sponsors too. I still spent like $10,000 on like personal trainers, and then like the hotel itself, because I wanted a separate room. Like they only paid for your room if you roomed with another girl on the curfew floor. I was like, hell no. So I like bought my own room. I'm like, no, I'll just take my own room. And it's really expensive. And I did really well at that pageant. I made top 15, but the gown that I reused, like some of the gowns I reused too. One of my gowns was like 5,000. One of them was like 10,000. Like I think in total, I probably spent like 50 grand on pageants, but it paid my school tuition. So I probably, I ended up making way more than what I put into it because of it.
Those are, I think, eye-opening numbers to people that don't know what that whole world's about.
Well, Miss America, so people don't know, even though it's really weird, and I don't know why they advertise it like this, because what they really should do is advertise the salary instead of the scholarship. So the scholarship for Miss America, I think, is 50 grand. I think they changed it though to like $70,000 this year or something like that. They upped it for inflation. She actually gets paid like $300,000 for her year. But it's not, they don't call it the scholarship because it's separate from the scholarship. So she is paid. Miss America and Miss USA get paid. because they are monitored 24/7. They live with a live-in chaperone. Like they can't just like go do whatever they want. They live day to day. Their chaperone, their organization tells them what they're allowed to do. I think they get like a break a month after, not an entire month, but a month after their win. They get like a week-long break to just kind of buffer it and hang out with family and get prepared for their insane tour, because they go on tour all over the freaking country. And that's a big deal. You know, I mean, even for a girl from like a well-to-do family, like to win Miss America, your child has less of a chance winning a state pageant and even compete. A child has less of a chance competing for Miss America than they do being in the Super Bowl, because of statistics alone, because there's only one Miss America. There are, you know, tens of Super Bowl athletes every year. So statistics make it a very, very difficult and expensive game for the girls that participate.
Wow. Yeah, no. Thank you for sharing that background on that world.
It's a whole secret society. It is kind of like a secret society. I just had a friend, and she's great. I want her to totally follow her gut instincts on anything. She just competed in pageants for like the first time this year, a couple of them. And one of the things she said to me was like, she's like, God, the way some of these title holders talk. I'm like, yeah, dude, that was me. I'm like, I had to be very fake sometimes in pageants. And it's not because I was trying to fool anyone. It's because I just wanted to keep my job. Nobody is robotically happy 24/7 in public and beautiful. Nobody. Like, that is absolute crap. Nobody should be expected to, even celebrities. That's garbage.
Oh, that's too funny.
No, people get colds. You get the sniffles from time to time. You can't always be happy in person.
Yeah, you're still a human being. You're not a robot.
Precisely.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was crazy.
Well, if we segue from there, like you said, when you left the pageant world and you wanted to be a pro cheerleader, did you get picked the first time for tryouts, or did you have to go several times back, or how did it work?
That was insane. And I actually, spoiler alert for anyone reading my book series, that actually is in the third book, is me getting onto, my character getting onto a cheerleading squad, although it's not the Capitals, because obviously don't want to get copyright in trouble or whatever. So it's just an ambiguous team. I don't even name a team in there. But I saw a really close friend go do it, and like, she actually was cheerleading the year the Stanley Cup, but they won the Stanley Cup. She got a ring and everything. And I was like, man, like, she looks like she's having so much fun. And she used to be in pageants. And I was like, man, that looks well, I like that idea. I liked the idea that like a cheerleading squad is multiple people that aren't competing against each other, versus pageants where it's like, all my friends were my competition, which is kind of crappy, because it's like, when you really like vibe and enjoy being with someone, it's kind of hard to like go head to head with them in an arena where a lot of money is at stake, and it's like only one of you is gonna walk away. And I like that. I like that about cheerleading, that it felt like I could be a part of something bigger where everybody wins. And I was like, this could be something really cool. And not only that, I was a diehard hockey fan. Like, growing up, I dated high school hockey players. I was a Penguins fan growing up, but then when I moved to Baltimore for college, really became a huge fan of the Ravens and the Caps. So those are my sports teams. Those are still my sports teams. I still kept those. I love my sports teams. And I just thought it was a win-win all around to be able to go see my favorite sports team and get paid to do it, even if it wasn't a lot, like get paid to do it and meet new friends. So I'm glad I did that too. Cheerleading, it was a really fun job for sure.
Okay, well, see, and this is interesting because one of the models that I knew, she had had an extensive dance background, so she tried out for the Seahawks, the Seagulls at the time here, the football team.
So cool, yeah.
Yeah, and it took her 3 tries, but she finally landed on the team, and she cheerleaded for 4 seasons. And her first season was the year that we won the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I made it my first year, but I also prepared. Like, So I had a friend, that was already on the squad, and I asked her, like, how can I prepare? She was like, get a personal trainer. She's like, treat it kind of like pageants, but for dance. And I was like, okay, easy. And I have a classic dance background, so I did train classically in tap, jazz, and ballet from age 2 to 16. And the only reason why I stopped dancing was because I wanted to focus on piano, because I was like, less girls play piano than they do dance in pageants. So I like tailored my whole life around pageants for a long time to make sure that like I had my competition in alignment, all of my stuff. I was a very, very strong competitor at the time, or I tried to be at least. And cheerleading was cool. It was definitely different. I only cheerled for a year. Having fans was cool, because in pageants you don't really get to see people that like are fans of you. They're on the internet and they're talking about you, but very rarely, unless you're like out at an event and somebody already knows you as a title holder, it's different. But cheerleading was really cool because like you're standing and greeting the fans and they are just so stoked to be there. They're so stoked to see you. Like everyone is happy to be going to the game, and then they see the cheerleaders and it gets them even more psyched up for the game. So I always enjoyed that part of the job, just like getting everyone excited. And I'm grateful I made it the first year, because I think if I didn't prepare like a year, I did basically prepare a year in advance to like get on that squad for like a year straight. I wanted to make it.
Well, it's clear that you set goals and you prepare and you do your due diligence for anything that and we haven't even talked about some of the other things that we're going to get to. So it's kind of like, it's refreshing to hear, I think, for other people out here watching this, that there's steps and there's a heck of a lot of work and a lot of intelligence and brain power that has to go into things that you want to do. You can't just wish it to happen. You have to put in all this time.
And you have to be okay with like failing too. I mean, like I said with pageants, where it's like I didn't win the first 4 or 5, 4 or 5, but yeah, I still kept going because my vision was, well, I want to win. So yeah, that sucked that and I remember, oh my God, what's funny is the year before I won, I did my worst. I got like 4th runner up, when the 2 previous years I got 1st and 2nd. And I I think getting the worst ranking for myself after a few years, I was like, F this, I'm gonna go work out more, I'm gonna go train, my little Rocky montage running up the stairs. And then I won Miss Maryland the next year, so.
There you go. I'm a musician. I've been playing guitar for a long time, and sometimes, sometimes I come across a guitarist and I look and listen. I'm like, I'm just going to turn my guitar into a coffee table because this is ridiculous how good this person is. But then that other part comes to me of like, well, now it's the time to go back and woodshed then, and I want to get as good as that person, so I'm going to work hard now.
Yeah, practicing and like putting up with the messed up notes while you're learning the song, and slowly chipping away at the melody versus just trying to play it quickly when you first start. I get that. That is frustrating.
And I want to make sure I'm keeping on time. That from cheerleading, like you said, you did that for a year with NHL, and that you're a big sports person. And where did because I know you're dancing as well at some point, and then you started writing books.
Yeah, so dancing was the first. I tell people I've technically been in the adult industry since I was 21, and I did it because pageants were so expensive. I didn't have the privilege. Like my family was pretty supportive, especially when I started winning, but I was an adult at that point, so I had to pay for them myself. Like they didn't pay for them for me, so. I was in Baltimore and I was like, you know what? This place has a ton of strip clubs. I'm gonna get to the club and make the money that I need to do this pageant, because I tried the minimum wage thing, but I sure as hell wasn't gonna buy a $5,000 pageant gown making $7 an hour as a 21-year-old. So I was like, I'm gonna try dancing. And I did it for a couple months. I liked it, got out of it. And I always used it, because I liked doing it, but I always used it as kind of a filler for when I needed extra income, or one time I got laid off, totally went back to dancing for a bit to make sure that while I was waiting to get a new job, I could, you know, survive. And then the books came. I really love writing. And for years, I was like, I did want to write a book, but I didn't, because I wasn't sure what kind of book I even want to write it. I mean, there's so many literary genres that I was like, I mean, that's probably a very hard decision, I think. I mean, for me, it was a hard decision to decide as an author, like, what do I want to write? Like, do I want to write like just a total fiction, not based on any reality, or do I want to write a memoir? And I landed somewhere like in the middle where it's like, I'll write a like humorous erotica that's like loosely based off my life. It's definitely dramatized and exaggerated. It has to be because it's a story. So like, I tell people I'm not as cool as my fictional daughter, Ari. She's awesome. But I started doing that around the time that I was cheerleading, because cheerleading wasn't as creative as I expected it to be, because like I expected us to do a lot more dancing, but because things had changed, because they were the Stanley Cup champions, we skated a lot more, which was fine, but like I kind of needed some more of a creative outlet. And so I started like writing my book. And I realized like, it's funny, I started it as a memoir, and I think 26 pages into it, I was like, I am only 26 years old. Why am I writing a memoir? Because I talked to other authors, I did my research, and I asked other authors, like, what do I do? Because like I have this good idea, like I want to write, I'm writing, but like I don't have the like total concept of what this book's gonna be. And a lot of authors came back at me and said, memoirs are great, but what if you accomplish like 10 times more cooler stuff in the future? Then you're going to regret writing your memoir at 26 if you go ahead and like accomplish all this crap by the time you're 50. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I actually went back and changed all the pronouns so that the language, instead of the language being in like a third, like not a third person, but you know what I mean, where it's like more of a accurate recount of stuff, and fictionalized it and changed things, changed character names, made it into humorous erotica, and I rode with it. I loved it. I ended up loving writing my series, and I just put out my third book, so I'm writing my fourth book now. But I was just on tour, so it's been really hard to like get that manuscript together. My plan this month was to selfishly take off time for my birthday so I could like actually write it. And then, yeah, I ended up selling them because I figured like, why not take a hobby and make money with it? And then I used, like porn and OnlyFans to promote it. Because that was also a big part of why I like started doing OnlyFans, was because I was like, I kind of want to promote my book more. And like, I love the adult industry, but I was trying to get out of dancing because I'm getting older and like I have arthritis now, so I can't dance anymore. Like I can't. I tried to make a return to the club. It's too hard. But I can still write. I can still do porn. I always tell people, I'm like, I danced for a long time. I think a total of 3 years spread across those like 12 years, like, or 4 years, probably 4 years. And dancing is physically harder on the body if you are actually pole dancing than porn.
I can see that.
I mean, humans are built for sex. So like, even though porn positions can be a little bit uncomfortable, most of us, like we are built to be doing that. So it's dancing is not something most of us are built. And that's why, I mean, I was told very young, everyone's like, dancers get arthritis by 30. And I didn't believe them. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then it happened to me. And I was like, yep, that's the rule. That's just the rule.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I mean, that's probably also like why pole dancing became classes. You know, there are actually exercise classes that people do pole dancing because of the workout they get from it, and it's using muscles that maybe you normally wouldn't be using.
I thought about getting a pole for like at-home dances, because like I have arthritis in my feet, so I can pole dance barefooted. But obviously in a club, I don't know if that's hygienic And I know it's definitely not acceptable at most clubs. So, yuck. Very much yuck.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Susan. Thank you for joining us. Susan, someone I used to work with back at one of my day jobs. So thanks for, if you have a question for Jade, Susan, let us know during this time. But so you've already kind of segued into it that you're wanting to promote your book. So that's when you started your, OnlyFans and things of that nature. And then you made the move into working with studios and shooting content for studios. Was it a big jump from OnlyFans to studio work for you?
It was actually. Before mainstream, I was only collabing for the most part with women because of where I live. And granted, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, it's not the most dangerous place in the country, but like there is a massive hookup culture here that there's a huge STD problem here, like outside of the industry where it's like people are not responsible. People don't get tested regularly. So for a while, I was only collabing with female creators that were tested because I was so paranoid about some of the smaller independent guys, because there are some smaller independent guys here that like will try to, I don't need to blast them because I don't work with them, but my rule is testing, and it always has been. Even when I was an indie creator, like I was getting tested. It just makes sense, right? Like it's the responsible thing to do. So for the first 10 months I had my OnlyFans, I wasn't collabing with any guys except for like a couple guys I dated because I had already dated them and was dating them. They got tested, and then funnily enough, one of my roommates, he wanted to get into OnlyFans and I found him very attractive. He moved out though. I waited till he moved out to be like, hey, let's hook up. And then he ended up really liking doing the camera stuff, and he likes getting better at the POV. So he was like, you know what? He's like, I probably won't do mainstream. He's like, but I'd love to help you out. I'd love to. And I was into him anyways. I'm still into him, but he moved to Tampa. And he's still on my OnlyFans actually. He's like one of my first dudes that I was regularly collabing with. And he was great. He always got tested. So it was a big switch from that where it's like I could finally have sex with guys. I was so excited. I was so ready because I was like, man, it's been almost a year since I was regularly getting laid. I think 2023 when I first moved here, I had sex with maybe 4 guys that year, 3 guys. Because I was just I was like, I want to be clean for my future career in sex work, my continued career.
So you bring up such an interesting point because I've interviewed, I don't know, maybe 20 folks in adult at this point, and none of them, they all have their own fan sites that they do, of course, for other revenue streams, but none of them talk about testing. And it's so smart.
I think, you know what, it's in the best of ways, and this is a compliment to the porn industry, actually. They take it for granted because we're all expected to do it. And that's a wonderful thing. I think that's so awesome that for me personally and my peers here, my work peers, I know they're tested and they always show their tests. I always show my tests. And it's you never have to worry about a lapsed test because I'm the type of person, if I know my test is expiring, I'm going to go 2 days before. Because in the awful event that something happens, at least then if I have a shoot, I can let the producer know in a timely manner. I can take care of it. And granted, knock on wood, it hasn't happened yet. But it's some people. I mean, it doesn't seem very common. But I have heard that just like every other industry, right? There's a couple bad eggs here and there. So in porn, we sadly have them. I don't necessarily work with them or know who they are. So I'm lucky. I've been working with some amazing people since the start of my career. But yeah, there's some people that they'll go to work and they'll have their test, but then they'll leave work and they will have relations and they'll have relations with people that are out of the industry and untested. And it's really really disrespectful to your coworkers, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What you're describing is that you're treating it like a business, and so are most of the other coworkers that you work with.
It's a safety thing. I think I would be absolutely mortified and feel awful because it not only impacts the person's health, it impacts their earnings. Like, it impacts their whole career for however freaking long it takes for them to untest. I think someone said like even the like mild ones like chlamydia and gonorrhea can take like 3 weeks to a month to clear out of the system, like with antibiotics. I'm like, yeah, hell no. So I'm very safe because I respect the people I work with, and I want to not even worry about it. I want to have fun with them on set and not even think about it. That it's like, yeah, we're gonna have fun. It's gonna be healthy and safe fun.
That's what I wish everybody would be approaching the industry with. And like you said, most are. There's just a few bad apples here and there, and that's, like you said, like any industry has that.
Industry.
Yeah, I'm curious too that, like you said, you've done like 5 tours of doing scenes and doing mainstream work. How did you get so much work so quickly?
A combination of things. So it did help that I approached an agent. It was really cool. So I went to, what started this all off was XBiz last year. And I'm so grateful for XBiz because they do make it very easy for like newer and indie creators to get involved in their community. And as a woman, like, that's so nice because it's more open to me. I feel less shy as a creator. It really, so I went to the XBiz Miami one last year and it really brought out my extroversion. I met so many friends in the industry. And to be able to talk to people instead of trying to message them online, you can actually get to know who they are. And you can definitely tell there's so many happy, healthy people that really love their jobs in this industry. Like, and I am one of them. I love my freaking job. I will take the worst days in porn over the best days in finance. And I'm with my heart, I mean that. And yeah, so I went. And a lot of people were telling me you get an agent. So I was like, okay. And I looked at different options, and I'm in Florida. So of course, I only had like a few of the bigger agencies around here, and I went with AMA Modeling. He got me into a bunch of Team Skeet, Bang Bros shoots right away, which really helped. And I also started with 101 like a couple months after I started with AMA, and that helped on the West Coast. But it's hard because I am 33. So even though I look younger, in porn, I'm considered a MILF. I'm older, and I tease. I'll go to the extreme. I don't hide shame about my age. Like, I call myself the old lady, and I don't care. I love it. I'm gonna age with grace very happily. I'm an old woman. It's a distinguished old woman. And, so I was warned about that, and the biggest conflict I was told, I won't say who, but like I was kind of told by a couple of people in the industry that I should get plastic surgery, I should get boobs, or else I'm gonna have a hard time getting gigs. And at first I kind of believed that, but then I was like, you know what do I have to lose? Like, I'm already in the industry, people already know me, like, what do I have to lose if I don't get them? So like, I wanted to try to just get a bunch of gigs on my own, and of course through my agencies without it. So, I told those people kick rocks, and that, I'm not going to do it, especially since like one of my hobbies is like marathon running. So like, it doesn't make any sense for me to have implants because for my sport, there's a reason why you don't see double D women at the starting lines of marathons. There's not many. It's very hard on your back to have big boobs and run 26.2 miles. It's just is. And that was like my biggest struggle at first, but I think once producers got to like know me and got to see like how much I love being at work, like I am always stoked to be there and get to know my personality and get to appreciate my look for what it is, because I'm allowed to have my own brand, and I am trying to be kind of like the less offensive almond milk mom, because I know like almond milk moms can be very like awful to their family, but I try to be the nice almond milk mom where it's like I care about my health. I take my fitness so seriously, and I take pride in being very like nutrition and wellness focused in a very natural, wholesome way versus like doing things, in my opinion, as the expensive faster way. I'll word it like that. The more expensive, faster way, which sometimes has consequences. Like I'm very sensitive with health stuff, and so I don't like to like even think about doing anything that could possibly like have a reaction or impact my running or whatever. And so now I've noticed like I've gotten a lot of appreciation for it, but I think at first like, yeah, it was just a different kind of brand that was introduced to porn. You know, and I'm sure other girls have had that look and had that athleticism and different, but it's a niche for sure. It's definitely a niche. It's its own segment of like MILF porn. And it's gotten a lot easier. Like the more that my shoots have been out, the more OnlyFans work I put out, and the more positive fans respond to me. Yeah, I think it's rolling. It is going great. I just hit my 51st shoot. So I started in July of last year. I just hit my 51st shoot 2 days ago.
Okay, so from last summer, all right, yeah, that's
That's not even counting collabs. I was on the run, man, working.
you know, and again, based on what you've told me, Jade, that doesn't surprise me at all because of your work ethic, you know, your brain, just everything that you're very driven, obviously. You're smart about how you approach your work. You did your homework. Yeah, I mean, you have a really interesting skill set that most folks just don't have. And especially in the adult industry. So you can use that to your advantage in terms of your brand getting bigger and bigger. And I have to say, from just strictly a fan's point of view, natural bodies are better bodies. So whoever was telling you about, you know, get surgery, get this, please don't.
I think surgery is one of those things where it's like, if a woman has been thinking about this for a long time consistently, because that's usually the sign of a pretty solid decision to me is like longevity. So if she's been thinking about it for like a year and it's like that's all she can think about and she's fixating on it and that's really important to her, I'm for it. You know, I am for plastic surgery, but the problem is I am not for women feeling the need to do it to make a career here. I don't think they do. I think as long as, you know, a female is attractive, has a high sex drive, I think more important than anything is you have to have a high sex drive and you have to love sex to be in this industry. Like that's more important than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people who claim to not watch porn, which is, you know, all of two people, it's like there's just like anything. If it's music, film, books, there's things that really work well for scenes, and there's things that maybe don't work well depending on who you are and what your fetish is and what you're into. But there's absolutely bad porn in terms like it doesn't get you off. You're looking at, you can tell they're not having any kind of chemistry in terms of what they're doing and on the set. Maybe the production isn't so good, so they don't know exactly what they're doing as a company. So there's definitely those kinds of scenes. And then there's the scenes over here that you're like, oh my God, this is like the hottest thing ever. I want more.
I know. Oh my gosh. I love like the scenes. Well, every scene for me, like I get on set and I'm always like, where is he? I'm ready. Actually, one time, I usually don't. So my ritual before shoots is I love to just listen to like mood music, like sexy music, get in the mood while I'm like doing my hair and like makeup, or if like, you know, I have a stylist for that day, like have some music on, feel myself a little bit and just like get into a very like soft feminine mindset because that's how I want to come off to my male talent. And yeah, I don't masturbate at all for like the 24 hours before because I do in my personal life, I have a super high sex drive, like, and that's why this job is perfect for me and why I love it so much because I think it's because I'm an athlete. Like I just have this crazy high sex drive. So for my male talent, I abstain, I goon so that by the time I get to them, I'm like very aroused. And one time I straight up pulled out a sex toy in front of a director while the male talent was getting ready because I was like, I am just edging so hard. And he's like, I've never seen somebody do that. But he loved it. He thought it was hilarious. And we had a really good shoot day. That was fun.
Well, see, and there again, you already have prepared that, you know, I have this scene coming up, so I'm going to abstain from masturbation because when I get there, I want it to be just like bursting fireworks.
Yeah. I want the dude to feel like the sexiest guy in porn and the world. Like my male talent, like if I have any goals aside from making the director happy, of course, I want to make my male and female talents feel like they are just like the hottest freaking person in the world.
Yeah, see, and if your coworkers have a similar mindset, then you win. Everybody wins then because you're all coming into with the same goal.
And we make like the best porn. You make the best porn that way. And the best porn I've watched, like one of my favorites used to be Alexis Texas. I love her porn, and she is a natural firecracker. And it comes across like it's easy because it comes across on camera. She doesn't have to do. Once she's having sex, she doesn't have to act. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's somebody else that I'd interviewed that talked about that. Their goal when they do a scene is to be the best possible scene ever. That's going to, possibly even win an award, kind of a thing. That's what they want.
That. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like it's like you said. I think that person definitely has a competitor background. So they're like, I want to knock this out of the fucking park right now. I don't want a single. I don't want a double. I don't want a triple. I want a home run right now. Even a grand slam if I can get it.
Triple crown win.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, opening a baseball season today. So.
Oh my gosh.
I got that on the brain.
Yeah. Shifting, and soon Stanley Cup's coming. So.
Yeah, for sure. Something else related to with the industry. Have you shot any features?
I haven't yet. I would love to be like featured. So I have fortunately already worked with like big studios and like New Balance. I just had like my second shoot with them, and Brazzers or Reality Kings this month. But I haven't shot any features. I'd love to be in the movie, in like one of the porn movies, but haven't yet. So hopefully soon.
Based on how you present yourself, your vocabulary, everything else that you enunciate very well, you seem like a natural for a feature role, let alone the sex part.
Oh, that is such a compliment. Thank you. You know what? I think more than anything, why I'm like doing well is one, like I obviously love it, right? It's easy to do well at things you love, because you just want to keep doing them. But I think the other thing is humility. Like when I entered this, kind of like how I entered like pageants and stripping, everything I entered before, I was very humble that just because I have experience doing some other cool stuff does not mean I know this world at all. And every time I try something new, I have to like press the reset button in my brain that it's like, I am a baby here. Like I am brand new. I'm learning. I'm like a seed that's gonna sprout into a very lovely flower in the industry. So I'm still in my little, like, I feel like I just budded, or I just sprouted. People see me now.
Well, again, and I can tell you because I cover films and film festivals and theater and musical theater, drama. I mean, the opera, ballet, music of all kinds. So I've interviewed tons of people from all over these spectrums. And so talking to you, I'm like, God, she's got this going for her. And then like you just talked about having humility is a huge piece of this, that anyone that's out there that has any kind of creative vision, it'd be like, I want to talk to this person named Jade Greene because I think she could really fit this. And you bring so much, all these other kind of things that you can't necessarily check off on a list that are just going to show up once they actually meet you and see you on set. So it's all clicking in my head why you've gotten where you're at so quickly.
Thank you. I didn't expect it. Recently, I hit like 30,000 followers on Instagram, and that was nuts. It just like went crazy. My ex is taking time to catch up, but like my ex even's at like 18,000. And it was cool because I did not start at that. I mean, I started at just a measly couple, just like everybody else, tens of fans, and now I'm at tens of thousands of fans. That feels good. Yeah,
and again, it's going to be something that you can look back on and say, I've been working really hard. This is what I've been doing. I've been doing things the way I want to do them too. So this is how my brand gets out there. That way, when you have 1 million followers, you can say, I'm still the same person. This is what I wanted to do back 2 years ago, and now I've gotten to this level, and now I'm shooting for the next level. Because you have a background that moves into the creative sides of things, that you never want to do something that you think is going to somehow get you the attention when you don't actually have a heart in it yourself. like if you write a song that you're like, oh, you know what, I think it might get me some radio airplay or something back in the day, but you don't really like it. So it's like, well, what if it doesn't get you airplay? Then you got nothing.
Yeah. And
that's
I think too, like being yourself, like being authentic is a lot easier to sustain as a brand versus like faking a brand. Like for me, pageants weren't sustainable because it felt like a very inauthentic brand for me. But porn, it's like, I keep telling people, they're like, well, how long do you want to do it? I'm like, 10 years, 10, 15 years. I want to be here forever, as long as I can be here.
Well, see, and you know what? I could see you, again, because of your background, I could see you, like if you get into, maybe you have your own studio or you have your own agency or you have something else, because you have the skill set for it. Again, some people just don't have that at this time in their life, but you already do. So you can be like, I'm going to be a performer for X amount of time on these scenes. I'm really loving it. But you know what? I want to kind of get on the business side of it, on the other side of the camera or whatever. I could totally see that.
Oh, that would be a dream come true, because it's so cool to see people, like especially talent, transition to that, because it shows people that you can still have a career in it. I mean, you can always adjust, kind of like me with dancing. I still have a career in the adult industry, just not as a dancer. I just switched it up for what I wanted to do and what is appropriate at the time. And I think that's such a smart idea, because then they don't have to give up who they are to continue to work. They can still work. It's just in a different element, a different style of work. I love that.
Yeah, and that's kind of a good segue too. That now, full transparency, I have not looked at every scene that you've done that's out there right now. I've looked at some. Have you been really methodical about the type of scenes that you shoot as you kind of build your career in porn?
I haven't been, aside from making sure, I tell people I want to make sure everything I do is enjoyable. So you know, there's no plans for me to pursue like more extreme shoots if I don't enjoy them. Like I just did my first anal shoot, and it was a lot of fun, and that was one of those things where I really wanted to do it, so that's why I did it. Versus like, you know, certain things I'm really not into, and I mean, especially with porn, it can get so extreme, as you know. So it's like, that's fair. It's fair to figure out like where I want my brand to sit. And most stuff in mainstream though is, to me, it's sexy and it's hot. So it hasn't been, you know, huge deterrent with much.
Okay. Well, and again, the fact that you're using kind of yourself as a barometer of like, you know what, as long as I'm having fun with this particular part of whatever the scene's going to be, then I'm okay with it. Versus something like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. It's fine if it's for other people, but it's just not for me. Something that I want to do right now. Because I hear the other side of it. I'll hear from people that enter the industry and they don't really know any better. So people kind of take advantage of that, and they'll say, hey, we can pay you more money if you do this type of scene. We can have blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but once you do that type of scene, it's like, where do you go from there? Because now you kind of did the most extreme thing ever. And then you can't go back, and people still love it. I mean, some people will, but they want more and more and more and more and more. And it's just like, it's unfortunate that sometimes they're not looking at that. They're just looking at, well, I'm trying to get into this industry, and they said this would be a good way to do it, so I do this type of scene. And it's like, they look back at it maybe a year later, like, yeah, I wish I had not done that. I wish I'd waited. Or maybe not done it.
It's like, yeah, you have to plan. If you don't want a fan base that's calling for like crazy stuff, you kind of have to build it. It's a slow and steady build, I feel like. Because I feel like I would have grown faster if I would have done anal much earlier, but I didn't want to. I was like, I want to make sure I'm comfortable. I want to make sure that it's with co-talent and a producer I feel very comfortable with. So that's why I waited so long. And like, it was funny because like, people immediately were like, DP, and I straight up told them, I'm like, not for a while, you know, and that's a goal of mine. I would love to do DP, and I, you know, eventually DVP too, but not unless it's something that I really, really enjoy. And there's ways to practice, you know, luckily I have co-talent around that can help me out if I'm curious and want to like try those things, but because I haven't even done them, like certain sexual acts, I've never had anal until I actually did my shoot 2 weeks ago. So that was nuts. And I was so proud and happy. I was like, yes, I'm happy I made the producer happy, and I'm happy that, you know, the fans are going to love it. It really makes me excited. But yeah, like with DP or DVP, I still haven't even done it yet often. That's something I've never done. So my general rule of thumb is like, let me at least do it off camera or practice off camera first and get used to it and enjoy it. And then that way, and the reason why I do that is because in the case that I can't get myself to enjoy something, I can always change my mind and say, you know what, I've put in the work, I've put in the practice, this is just not something that I can really get into, and you know, that we can't help what we're into sexually. So I'm sure it's gonna happen where I'm gonna try something and I'm like, not again, maybe not again.
Well, and again, the fact that you even think that way, that you have the mentality, like, let me practice in my private life and kind of see what is this about? Maybe I really will enjoy it. And sometimes like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. Yeah.
I know some men feel about that with anal play themselves. Some men love the butt plugs. Some men don't love, and that's acceptable. Every man can pick whether or not what they want to do with that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, again, the fact that you just have a natural way that you kind of treat yourself, so that you kind of know, like you said, anal 2 weeks ago wasn't the first time that you did it. Some people, they're going to do it for the wrong reasons. They're going to do it probably because of money more than anything. I mean, they're probably being pressured into it. Like, hey, you should do this because we can pay you another $1,000 if you do an anal scene versus a straight scene. And it's like, no, that's do it because you want to do it. And then, you know, the things, you'll enjoy it more too. I mean, they'll show up on camera that way. And so, like, you can tell when people look uncomfortable. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's somebody's kink too, that they want to see that from somebody, like a new performer per se. But I'm like, that's just wrong on so many levels to me.
Like, that's mentally sadistic. Now, I'm all for physical sadistic. So as an athlete, I did a, you know, something I didn't think I would enjoy that I absolutely loved, and people I think are shocked to hear this. I did a spanking kink shoot. He wailed on me. I loved it. It was like, he did. I loved every second of it. 10 minutes straight of him just spanking my ass, and like, I even like, it was so extreme. I got like a little bit of vertigo for a second, and I had to like ground myself with my fist because I was like sitting over. But I actually, like, afterwards, I got off a little bit to it, and I was like, man, I like really didn't expect that, but I'm sitting there and I'm not saying no, and I'm not saying the safe word, and it's feeling good, and I'm like, this is weird. So there's also moments in porn like that where it's like sometimes the things you expect to be the most uncomfortable might be the most fun, and I'm sure a lot of actresses discover that with different, you know, especially the younger girls, where it's like if they're paired up and have really good chemistry, I'm sure they're like, oh, didn't know I liked this.
Wow. And then, you know, one other thing I would like to mention as we're already past an hour, is that you've mentioned more than once about your marathon running. And so is that something that, so you were like running every day? Are you trying to get to like an ultra marathon level, or where are you with your running?
So I was injured, unfortunately, 2 months ago, but I'm back at running as of a couple weeks ago, and it has been, oh my gosh, I am the grouchiest human ever when I can't run. So not being able to run for a couple months was rough. I had a neck and shoulder injury and a concussion. So I was told, do not run for 2 months. And I did other things. I weightlifted, but it's not the same. Like, I love running. And I've run 10 marathons so far. It's kind of my, like, it's not a cure-all, but it helps me kind of balance the triangle of like physical, mental, and emotional health, where it gives me a purpose outside of work and outside of books. It gives me a non-income driven purpose that like I just do for fun and just do to enjoy. Because I think we all need that. We all need like just a stupid hobby that we are fanatics over, but like it doesn't even, you know, it benefits us in a happiness, health way, but it doesn't pay the bills at all. And like right now I'm getting back on marathon training. So typically my schedule is usually an every other day schedule because I like to fit a lot of lifting and hit in it too. And in order to do that, I can't run every day. So what I'll do usually is I'll do like maybe 1 or 2 double days a week. And then I'll do like 2 to 3 lifting days, 4 running days. So that I'm only really working out 4 to 5 days so that I get I want 2 to 3 really solid days of rest so that when I am working out, I hit those days like hard. I would love to do an ultra. Like, this might be the first year I do my ultra, and I'm glad I recovered from my injuries because I always get nervous when that happens, especially the older I get. And yeah, I'm getting back on the road. I just did a 3-mile yesterday, and it sucked. Right before my injury, I got up to like a 16-mile, and I was so close to doing the Fort Lauderdale Marathon, but I got my butt up that day because I like live really close. Like I live in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and the finish line was like a half a mile away from my house. So I just walked, or the starting line. I just walked over there despite being injured and like cheered on the runners. That morning I was like, you know, just because I can't run doesn't mean I can't be out here supporting my people. So it's definitely like my hobbyist lifestyle that I keep separate from everything else.
Well, that's awesome. And again, like you said, it's something that I think everyone definitely needs in their life. Whatever that hobby is, whatever that interest is, something that you're just kind of geek out and you're passionate about it, and it helps center you basically.
Something, it's like, you know, something you look forward to after work. Because even if you love your job, it's like your brain needs different modes. You know, it needs to express some creativity. It needs like some physical action, whether that's like walking or whatever, cycling, whatever people like to do. So I think it's just healthy. I think it's just, it keeps you in a flow where you're not too bored and too unfulfilled with life, where it's like, yeah, maybe, you know, some work days might be boring for everybody, but it's like, oh man, but I have this sick run later. I'm so excited for it. And that's okay.
Yeah, see, I have a friend that I went to high school with, and he lives down in Georgia, and he does ultras. And
one's so bad.
when he first described it to me, I'm like, I'm already tired just listening to this. I don't.
I know. My first one, I was thinking of doing. There's this crazy. I always feel like I sound like an old, weird mountain wilderness person when I talk about these races, because it really. So there's this 12-hour race in the middle of Bumfuck, Florida. That I was thinking of doing. It sounds fun. And it goes around a 4-mile sand trail loop. So it's not even on pavement. I think it is mostly sand. And you do it 12 hours, and it's a 4-mile loop. So you just go around that loop to loop to loop for. I just want to see, you know what? Part of me wants to see at what point will my sanity crack. Like, when am I going to start sounding like I'm on something? Like, where I'm hallucinating. Like, it's a fun sport though. I mean, what's nice about it is like the community is super like cool. I feel like runners, out of all athletes, like it's the most welcoming. It's the only sport where you can literally like hang out with pro athletes in the sport, like like especially the marathons. The marathons, you see elite runners like right in front of you, and it's pretty cool because sometimes, yeah, you'll see like an Olympian or like a runner legend. I saw Catherine Switzer at one of my races, which was like Baka. She was the first woman to run. She was the first recorded woman to run a marathon. Like before that, there was another woman that had run it, but like she was the first to illegally enter a marathon, the Boston Marathon, and ran it in 1972, I think it was. So it's so, you know, for me, I geek the hell out of it, and I agree with you. Like people need to just like geek out over their hobbies. You know, it's okay not to make money off of everything you do. It's okay. Like.
So does that mean that you've traveled to do your marathons too? Then out of Florida, you've run in different cities.
Yeah. So far I've run 10, and let's see, I've done Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Ohio, DC. North Carolina, trying to think, Pennsylvania, if I didn't already mention, I've done 10, and then Hawaii and Alaska. Yes, I think that's all of them. Charlotte, Delaware, Ohio, I've done 2. So yeah, so I've done all of those, and I plan on doing the 50 states, just because it's fun. It's a bucket list item for me. I know people are like, that's such a weird hobby. I'm like, look, it's better than drugs. So
Absolutely. I mean, like it gives you an opportunity to travel. It's healthy for you. It clears your head, like we talked about. I've got an extended family member that has run the Seattle Marathon, but he's based out of Arizona. So he's done Boston. He's done all these kind of marathons. And when he first came up here, I'm like, you must really love this stuff if you're traveling for it. Oh yeah, I can't get enough of it. You know, I can't wait to do the next one. He's already looking on his calendar of where he's hitting next. And I'm like, that sounds like you.
I love that. No, I think everybody should have like a passion, whether it makes them money or not, because it's just like, for me, it's such a like motivator, and it's so like I think it also contributes to my confidence here because as a porn star, it's like it doesn't even matter. Like there's so much pressure nowadays for everybody, not just porn stars, not just actors, to like look good and to be in good shape. And I think when you find a physical outlet, it's like you care less about what's on the scale, and you're like, no, I just want to do my thing. Like when you really love a sport or an activity that much, and I see it with CrossFitters are a lot like that too, where it's like they love their sport, and like I love seeing that in other sporting communities where people are just so psyched. Like their goal isn't necessarily a weight or dress size or to look a certain way. It's more like longevity or the fun old traditional spirit of competition against oneself. Like I love all that. But this is why I'm a sports girl, man. I'm all about sport life.
Yeah, I can tell.
I know
And
sports movies make me cry. So chick flicks don't make me cry, and I get really bored. But like, put on like a sports movie, and I will. I watched Angels in the Outfield on my flight to LA, and I bawled the entire time.
That's awesome. I mean, I've had my fair share of sports films that I've reviewed for sure, and the definitely things I saw as a fan growing up. I'm an old fart, so
Chariots of Fire. Oh my gosh. Chariots of Fire is the classic runner movie for sure.
That's true. And well, Jade, it's been awesome talking and interviewing you today, and you have so many good things going on for you. But I would like to give you at least one of the last words about what do you have coming up, and how can people connect with you?
Oh, I am so excited. So as I said, we got a 4th book coming out in my series. That one's going to be called Disorderly Conduct Spirit Edition. It's not going to be out for a bit because I'm still writing it, but it should be out by this winter. So keep an eye out. 3rd book just came out, Disorderly Conduct Mission Edition. All my books are available on Amazon and Kindle, which is awesome. So you can get them in a print or an ebook. And the first one's actually even available in audiobook version on Audible. So I'm working on the other 2 audiobooks. That takes a lot more. That takes more effort, in my opinion, than normal books. And for porn and for OnlyFans, I just did some amazing collabs. I can't wait to share them with you guys. Just posted a hijab collab on my OnlyFans, my first hijab one. But then I also have a couple others coming up. I have a kinky golden shower one that I'm super excited to post. Very kinky. And then a last minute collab with Joshua Lewis I just did yesterday on the way out. So we have a few collabs next week, Nikki Rebel collab, and all of these are going to be on my OnlyFans. Shoots, we have my first VR video game shoot. I am so excited. And that's going to be on the 6th. And then we have another Reality King shoot and I think another Team Skeet shoot next month. So yeah, just look out for me. Look out for me on OnlyFans, on X, on the Hub, and Amazon as an author.
Wow. And also Instagram that you mentioned too.
And yes, Instagram.
Well, it's awesome that you're so busy and have so many things coming up. I genuinely enjoy talking with you. I would have you back anytime that you ever want to come back to promote things or just to kind of do a part 2. Again, I like some people, for whatever reason, I try to get as many different guests as they can. I like to get guests that I have a vibe with and then have them back. So, I mean, a good example would be that I had Eva Tavares, and she was a part of the Phantom of the Opera tour in 2018. We met in person.
Yeah.
And she just joked to me 2 weeks ago when we did the live stream that, Mark, you're kind of here for every iteration of my career, because she's now a filmmaker, and she was just on NBC as an actor and stuff. So she's got all these different things, and I've been kind of there to interview her.
That's amazing. I love that.
So yeah, if it's something, again, I love it when guests reach out to me. It's like, hey, Mark, I've got something coming out that I really want to promote. I'm all about it. I'll find it in the schedule and we'll get back together and do another one of these.
Heck yeah, I'll totally reach out again.
Awesome. Have a great, I guess it's a late afternoon down there.
Yes.
All right, take care, Jade.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.